Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the North Coast Inland is under a rainfall warning. Kitimat hosted the annual Nation to Nation Forum, and Northern Health is working to keep young nurses in BC.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. A rainfall warning is in effect for the North Coast Inland, including Terrace, Kitimat, Bella Coola, and surrounding areas. Residents can expect up to nearly 50 millimeters of rain and possibly up to 80 millimeters near Kitimat. Environment Canada says a vigorous frontal system is moving southeastward across the BC coast and has brought the heavy rain with it. The BC River Forecast Center says heavy downpours can cause flash floods and water pooling on roads, and localized flooding in low-lying areas is possible. Also watch out for possible washouts near rivers, creeks, and culverts. Residents can keep up to date with advisories and current stream flow conditions by checking the BC River Forecast Center and by monitoring alerts and forecasts issued by Environment Canada. First Nations, industry leaders, government, and stakeholders converged in Kitimat this week for the 9th annual Nation to Nation Forum, an event focusing on economic development and collaboration. CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews has more.
Technical expertise alone isn't enough. Indigenous knowledge, stewardship, and guidance are essential to shaping this project and protecting ecosystems and respecting rights.
The Nation to Nation Forum aims to foster meaningful conversations about Indigenous-led projects and opportunities in sectors like natural gas, mining, and energy. This year's forum included a visit from Minister Rajan Sawhney, Alberta's Minister of Indigenous Relations. Her main message: Alberta's pipeline proposition is far from consultation phases, and the early feasibility study is just that. She said an application process is underway, but that plan is currently merely conversations. She promised that herself and Alberta acknowledge the lack of Indigenous consultation there's been in the past and is committed to appropriately consulting on this project if plans do proceed. Sawhney said Alberta is open to Indigenous ownership in the proposed project and referred to the Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation. MP Ellis Ross was another speaker. He highlighted an interest in lifting BC's tanker moratorium for what he said was the necessity of industry, and also said the industrial carbon tax needs to go as the impact to taxpayers' cost of living will only increase. The forum was set to wrap up today with a visit expected from the Premier. For CFTK-TV News in Kitimat, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
A new report shows Canada is losing young nurses at an alarming rate, but in BC, health officials say ongoing efforts are helping slow the trend. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante has more on what Northern Health's doing to tackle the worker shortage.
A new study by Montreal Economic Institute reveals that across Canada, 40 nurses under the age of 35 are leaving the workforce for every 100 who enter. But in British Columbia, the numbers are slightly better, with about 27 young nurses leaving for every 100 new recruits. The president and CEO of Northern Health acknowledges the issue and says it's pushing forward with 4 key strategies to attract and retain health workers. Those strategies include competitive incentive packages, targeted recruitment efforts across Canada and into the U.S., and stronger partnerships with colleges and universities to expand local training opportunities. In addition, he elaborates on training and redesigning.
The third stream is training, doing a lot of work to create opportunities locally for people to earn and learn, start a career as a care aide, mental health clinician, trying to create different laddering opportunities as well. So if someone starts a career as a care aide, how could they then potentially ladder to become a licensed practical nurse, for example? And then the fourth stream is redesign. So really looking at how do we do things differently. Nurse-led models of care using nurse practitioners, also using new virtual health, virtual care options. Over the last year, for the first time, we have nurse practitioner working in ER in northern BC, and we also have been partnering with the Rural Coordinating Centre in BC for many years to create virtual real-time supports to support healthcare providers to provide services in the north. And then we partnered with Teladoc for the first time to keep emergency room service going in Fraser Lake.
Nationally, the shortage continues to grow, but British Columbia's effort to streamline training and improve working conditions may offer a model for the rest of the country. CFTK-TV News, Helen Asante.
Over $5 million from the Northern Healthy Communities Fund is headed the way of Northern BC in order to bolster various projects across the region. One beneficiary of these funds will be the City of Terrace, as their portion of the money will be used to add 26 new childcare spaces and increase age group offerings. Other projects getting a financial boost include a standalone emergency operations center in Dawson Creek, the creation of a two-bay fire hall for the Senkus First Nation, and the Kitimat Youth Center is being upgraded as well. Coming up next, the BC Conservatives look to be revolting against John Rustad. Welcome back. We look to the growing revolt within the BC Conservative Party. After another MLA left, there are calls from top party brass for John Rustad to resign as leader. CTV's Rob Buffum has the report.
Facing mounting pressure to step down, BC Conservative leader John Rustad remains defiant.
I am not going to be resigning, thank you.
The defiance despite members of his party's management committee, including party president Aisha Este, sending him a scathing letter describing the party as in a state of unprecedented turmoil and chaos, and calling on him to resign immediately. A perspective shared by two former Conservatives who've been fired or quit in the past few weeks.
I do hope John takes this recommendation by the board seriously so that the party can turn itself into a direction of renewal.
And I really hope that John will take this to heart.
The remaining 39 MLAs had various responses, ranging from support.
Do you think John Rustad should resign?
Absolutely not.
And John Rustad has your confidence?
Absolutely.
Others less committal.
No comment, you guys. Thanks.
And for some, silence.
Armin, any second thoughts on his leadership? Armin supports leadership?
Facing a drop in the polls, lost MLAs, and now loss of confidence from the party executive, former BC Liberal Premier Christy Clark says Rustad's days are numbered.
When there's a whole team of people that are jumping ship altogether, including your own party, I don't think I can imagine or remember a situation where anybody's come back from something like this.
As a practical matter, neither the management committee nor caucus can oust Rustad at this point. His removal would have to be through him resigning, something he maintains he's not doing.
I went around this province and toured as a leadership. 71% of the members voted in favor of my leadership.
But as they say in politics, a week is a long time, and it's only Wednesday. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
Closing submissions into allegations of racist, homophobic, and discriminatory comments made by 3 RCMP Coquitlam officers continued recently. CTV's Craig Krause has more on the back and forth between lawyers and when the board will make a decision.
Allegations against Coquitlam RCMP officer Mirsad Mesbah were front and center during Wednesday's virtual code of conduct hearing. The lawyer representing the RCMP Conduct Authority called Mesbah's comments in a private group chat along with over police computers downright ghastly. John McLaughlin told the board that the comments uncovered during an investigation included denigrating a domestic violence complainant. McLaughlin said Mesbah was not a credible witness when he claimed his comments were made out of frustration and came from a place of darkness. The officer was also accused of using an Asian slur, where McLaughlin said Mesbah explained he didn't know the meaning of. The lawyer calling this an unwillingness to be truthful and claimed he didn't remember details while testifying under oath, but offered a self-serving narrative. Mesbah's lawyer, Alison Tremblay, fired back, saying the entire investigation was unfair, urging the board that shoddy police work should not be excused, while also denying the RCMP has a legitimate interest in members' private communication and there was no policy to go through personal messages, comparing it to a conversation in a bar, saying the importance of this ruling can't be overstated. And as for the ruling, the 3 officers will hear the board's decision by November 7th. Craig Crowe, CTV News.
A 6-week police investigation targeting an alleged crime group in Vancouver's downtown east side led to a major seizure of drugs and stolen property. Vancouver police say 3 men were arrested last month after officers with Task Force Barrage identified a hotel meant for low-income residents as the base of operations. CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports.
Drugs, weapons, and cash, all among the contraband seized as Vancouver police uncovered more organized crime in the downtown east side.
It's still the most challenging neighborhood in our city, in our province, likely in our country, to police.
VPD's Task Force Barrage identified the West Hotel and Bar as the base of operations for the alleged criminal network, saying several rooms were rented to store and traffic drugs, weapons, and stolen goods.
These men were part of a criminal network that was renting rooms inside the West Hotel. Again, a apartment building in the downtown east side that is intended to serve low-income residents of that community. But these people who don't live in that community were renting rooms in that hotel.
Investigators seized about 2.5 kilograms of fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine, along with $35,000 in cash and another $30,000 in stolen merchandise. 3 men in their 50s were arrested late last month.
At this point, the people who have been arrested have been released. The investigation is ongoing, and we will present our findings in a report to Crown Counsel with anticipation that criminal charges will result from this investigation.
VPD has called the task force, which began in February, a success, but its days are winding down.
This is a reminder that although we've made significant progress in the downtown east side, organized criminals are still finding ways to work in the neighborhood and to profit at the expense of this neighborhood's most vulnerable population.
Last month, the department said plans were in the works for a new team in the troubled neighborhood, but the details and cost have not been released. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Next week, Metro Vancouver's board will vote on whether or not to approve a smaller budget following major public backlash over the organization's spending. CTV's Martin McMahon now with the report.
From the nearly $3 billion over-budget North Shore wastewater treatment plant to questions over meeting compensation for its directors, Metro Vancouver has been under pressure to tighten its belt. And following a costs and services efficiency review, the board's chair feels the organization is in good shape financially.
For 2026, we have really pushed the limits of where we can get to. I think, to do anything more than that would be a bit irresponsible because we would start to miss out on some very important projects.
The cuts would mean households would see an increase in rates of 2.5% next year, then 3% in 2027. That's a drop from the 5% annual increases originally projected for the next 2 years.
So I think we really got it down as fine as we could possibly get it, and still be able to manage the region in the way it needs to be managed.
But not everybody is convinced.
Everybody who lives in Metro Vancouver should be watching this report very carefully and should be clutching their purse and holding onto their wallet.
Among the critics, New Westminster City Councillor and mayoral candidate Daniel Fontaine.
I mean, the scope of Metro Vancouver, it now does parks. It now does, Invest Vancouver, a $5 million economic development arm. It does housing. I mean, what next? Are they going to be building batteries for electric cars? I mean, the scope of this organization is really just, from my perspective, gone way out of control.
Metro Vancouver is clearly trying to find ways to save money. But given rising costs, both for the regional body and for taxpayers, these questions about the organization's financial discipline aren't going away anytime soon. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Burnaby.
And now we take a look at both your nightly and weekly weather forecast. On the north coast, tonight is supposed to feature showers at a low of 8 degrees with a rainfall warning in effect, as the rest of the week expects to have one sunny day in the middle of it surrounded by rainy days and a high moving from 9 to 7 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their night will feature a chance of showers at a low of 6 degrees with a rainfall warning in effect too, while the upcoming week also has one sunny day in the middle of rainy days, and their high will bounce between 8 and 4 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the night for them expects a few showers while their low sits at -3 degrees with a wind warning in effect. And the weekly forecast calls for a chance of showers to begin, then a mixed sun and cloud day, before switching to some sunny days and finally to a cloudy day, with the high shifting from 8 to 3 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. Highway 16 has construction work, bridge maintenance, road maintenance work, shoulder maintenance, and debris on the roadway planned. Highway 37 has maintenance, utility work, and road construction. Highway 37A is still dealing with falling rocks between west of Mesianen and east of Stewart alongside bridge maintenance, and the Nishka Highway has some mowing. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, an unflattering spotlight is being shined on the CRA. Welcome back. A major watchdog shined a spotlight on the Canada Revenue Agency as the Auditor General revealed that many call centers designed to help Canadians with complicated tax questions aren't doing their jobs. CTV's Abigail Beeman with the findings.
You don't need to be stalled, you don't need to be dropped. You need to be dealt with and worked with.
David Cornish is not surprised. The Auditor General reports people calling the Canada Revenue Agency waited twice as long as last year to get through. He's wasted enough time himself.
Hours and hours, and then dropped. And the next day, hours and hours, and then dropped.
The report also found callers only got accurate information to general questions about benefits 56% of the time. Business tax questions were 54% accurate. And at the bottom of the barrel, general individual tax questions answered correctly only 17% of the time.
We found that the accuracy was much higher when questions pertain to specific accounts.
Why does this government force Canadians to pay so much for such terrible service?
You're getting the wrong answers most of the time. It cannot be, it's not acceptable, and it needs to change.
The union boss blames working conditions, cuts, and a lack of training.
They're watching the employees like Big Brother. They are almost harassing them when they take too long to go to the washroom and their breaks, instead of focusing on the accuracy and then giving them sufficient training.
The minister responsible says they're looking at improving AI bots and scheduling calls.
I'm not prepared to say we're going to cut. I'm not prepared to say we're going to add. We're looking at it. We're going to make service better.
The government says they've already made great progress with a 100-day plan to improve services. The union calls it a Band-Aid, saying if there's no new money in the budget, things may only get worse.
Skipping oil changes might save you time, but could cost you thousands. One family from Toronto learned that the hard way when their SUV's engine seized and their warranty didn't cover repairs. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
Jacqueline Ferrer of Mississauga and her husband had a baby last year, and with a dog in the family, they decided to get an SUV. They purchased a used 2022 Mazda CX-9 with about 50,000 kilometers on it. Ferreira says over the past year, they took it in for oil changes.
We've taken it for its oil change every 5,000 kilometers, and it's been good to us until it wasn't.
Ferreira did not purchase the SUV from a Mazda dealer and uses her own mechanic for maintenance.
So we do get our oils changed with our own personal mechanic.
In August, there was a problem with the vehicle's camera and then it wouldn't start. They took it to a Mazda dealership and were told there was a problem with the oil level and the engine was seized.
They were asking for proof of our oil changes. We sent them photographs of our oil changes.
Following an investigation, they were told the engine failure was not a defect and would not be covered under warranty. Ferreira says her mechanic had to install a used engine at a cost of almost $10,000.
Financially, it's going to be debilitating if it's not covered.
When CTV News reached out to Mazda, spokesperson said Mazda Canada declined the warranty claim on evidence the engine failure was not caused by a manufacturer defect. A review revealed irregularities in the maintenance documentation provided. If your vehicle is under warranty, you don't have to go to a dealership for oil changes, but many people do. If you do go to an independent mechanic or a lube shop, you do have to follow the owner's manual and the scheduled maintenance. You have to use the right oil and filter and keep detailed records. Mazda told CTV it recognizes the situation has been difficult. Therefore, Mazda offered as a gesture of goodwill to reimburse the cost of the used engine installed by the independent garage. Ms. Ferreira accepted the offer. The family still has questions, but agreed with the outcome.
At least the cost of that engine is covered, which is still a great financial relief. Thank you, CTV. We're really grateful. Thank you so much.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets look today compared to yesterday. The Canadian dollar is up 0.1 cent. The price of gold is up $80.20. Oil is up $3.29. Natural gas is down 15 cents. Aluminum is up $37. In Toronto, the TSX is up 203.30 points. The Venture Index is up 16.54. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 144.20. And Nasdaq is up 201.40. Still ahead, the winning streak of the Canucks came to an end. Welcome back. The Vancouver Canucks winning streak ended thanks to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but the team can still complete a successful road trip against Nashville. And as CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, the team could see lineup reinforcements. Here's this week's Ringside Report.
Tyler Myers and Kiefer Sherwood scoring 41 seconds apart in the first period in Washington Sunday. And the good vibes continued in Pittsburgh Tuesday with Connor Garland scoring just over a minute into the game.
Here's Connor Garland with a step on the right wing. He shoots, he scores!
But the team crashed in the second period.
We didn't do anything after that, really, so really bad effort tonight.
The Penguins scored 3 times in a little more than 3 minutes, with the Canucks running on empty. The final score 5-1 for the Penguins.
Can't let games slip like this. Yes, we've been playing some good hockey lately, but it doesn't come easy, so it's got to bring it every night.
The Canucks have been dealing with 5 players injured or on leave, including top forward Brock Besser, who's missed the past 2 games for personal reasons, leaving them with no choice but to call up some replacements from the AHL.
It's too much to ask the Abbotsford call-up guys to step in and be difference makers. That's not who they are.
Despite the team desperately needing goals and missing some key players, the top lineup was barely on the ice in Pittsburgh.
Particularly Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk, who led this team in goal scoring last year. They were among the lowest skaters in ice time in Pittsburgh.
Head coach Adam Foote says there is a good chance Besser will be back for Thursday's road trip finale in Nashville, and Teddy Bluger, a strong penalty killer, could also draw back into the lineup. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our news for now. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin. Thanks for watching.